This week in comic book horror is a list of ghoulish comics to look for this week if you happen to make it to the comic shop. I rattle them off, you decide which ones to pick up. Let's see what's new in comic book horror, September 14th, 2022. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor and punch that like button down below. Share this video with all of your social media addicted pals. Click subscribe to this channel and ring that bell for notifications. Here's what's new this week in comic book horror, September 14th, 2022. Cover the Dead with Lime, number 2, is from Blood Moon Comics. The story is by Jonathan Chance, with art by Hernan Gonzalez. You know what would make those dead guys over there look more scrumptious? A little bit of lime. Set during the Black Plague, in the UK, plague doctors stop at nothing to rid the populace of disease, including raiding homes and mass murder. This is a very cool and relevant story given the current events. The Army of Darkness vs. RE-ANIMATOR, NECRONOMICON Rising, number 3, is from Dynamite Entertainment. The story is by Erik Burnham, with art by Eman Casallos. Ash and his chainsaw take on Dr. Herbert West, Evil Ash, and an army of Little Ashes. Erik Burnham and company deliver all of the go-to thrills and chills from both horror franchises. Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer, number 5, is from Opus Comics. The story is from Torunn Grønbekk, with art by Diego Galindo. I haven't checked out these Opus comics, but they seem to be pretty hardcore in terms of content. Not only have they been adapting stories from metal bands like Disturbed and Cradle of Filth, but they also have the rights to tell original stories based on Frank Frazetta's best paintings. This issue has Death Dealer taking on a sea witch. I'm going to be taking on a sandwich later. Revealer, number 1, is from Vault Comics. The story is by Michael Moreci and Tim Seeley, with art by Tim Seeley and Corin Howell. I really like the movie Revealer. Be sure to check out my review. It was a really cool low-budget horror film that took advantage of a singular location, that of a porn shop during the biblical Judgment Day. The guys who wrote the film, Michael Moreci and Tim Seeley, who normally write comics, wrote a comic set in the same universe as Revealer, and this is that comic. If you like the movie, buy the comic. Kingspawn, number 14, is from Image Comics. The story is by Sean Lewis, with art by Thomas Nachlik. In this issue, Spawn takes on an all-new and all-different kind of Hell Spawn. I'm not a reader of Spawn, but I guess that's going to be a pretty big deal for those who do. I dig that cover, though. Madballs vs. Garbage Pail Kids, number 3, is from Dynamite Entertainment. The story is by Sholly Fisch, with art by Joe Simko and Jason Crosby. More gross-out action ensues from iconic toon writer Sholly Fisch and the original Garbage Pail Kids artist Joe Simko. If you're a fan of my podcast with my buddy Rob Patey, you know as a child he used to have his Madball collection set in a decorative display. I find that fascinating and never miss an opportunity to bring it up. Anyway, this book is for the fans of the raunchy playing cards and icky balls. Sgt Werewolf number 1 is from Scout Comics. The story and art are by Rich Woodall. This comic sounds downright badass. It's set during World War II with an army sergeant who finds out he's a werewolf after he is shot down on the battlefield. He rises to take on zombies, Thor the Thunder God, and an army of golems. I'm loving that ballistic cover of Sgt Werewolf rattling off bullets in every direction. Can't wait to sink my teeth into this one. Get it? Werewolf? Teeth? Anyone?
Bueller?
Sacrament number 2 is from AWA Upshot. The story is by Peter Milligan, with art by Marcelo Fruzin. I just read the first issue of Sacrament, and Peter Milligan really delivers an interesting story about a priest who has lost his faith in an outbreak of what seems to be devil possessions. In space. Seriously, this is a cool book. Sure, it's the same kind of questioning God and stuff, but this time, it's in space. Vampirella Mind Warp #1 is from Dynamite Entertainment. The story is by Jeff Parker, with art by Benjamin Dewey. Jazzy Jeff Parker, who I'm a big fan of, delivers some shagadelic vampire action, placing Vampirella in the swingin' 60s. Expect swirling lights, fuzzy pillows, hip music, and of course, covers with
ass, ass, titties, titties, ass, and titties.
Yeah, baby.
Lovecraft Unknown Kadeth #1 is from Ablaze. The story is by Florentino Flores, with art by Guillermo Sana and Jacques Solomon. I'm a devourer of anything Lovecraft, and this one seems to borrow heavily from the Dreamland, which is a nice change of pace from all of that Cthulhu stuff. Ablaze is literally a company on fire right now, producing one genre hit after another. This new series looks like another one. Predator #2 is from Marvel Comics. The story is by Ed Brisson, with art by Kev Walker. Trapped on an ice planet, a lone survivor attempts to find sanctuary, but in the way is one mean and chilly predator. The first issue of this series didn't disappoint, so I'm all in for this one. Silver Coin #14 is from Image Comics. The story is by Pornsak Pikestot, with art by Michael Walsh. It's another issue of my favorite anthology series. Issue after issue delivers some of the best horror in comics, and this one focuses on how the cursed coin at the center of it all aids in the destruction of a relationship during the pandemic lockdown. Might be too soon, might be fun. We shall see. Midnight Suns #1 is from Marvel Comics. The story is by Ethan Sachs, with art by Luigi Zagaria. Everything 90s is cool again. Yay? So they've lumped Blade, a Ghost Rider, not the cool one, Magic, and what would a 90s nostalgia strumming comic be without an appearance from Wolverine? They got them all together. This ain't my Midnight Suns, but maybe it'll surprise me. Finally, we have the Bone Orchard mythos, 10,000 Black Feathers #1 from Image Comics. The story is by Jeff Lemire, with art by Andrea Sorrentino. So I missed the preview of this series on New Comic Book Day, damn it. So this is my first experience with Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's expansive Bone Orchard mythos universe. It seems to be about a pair of friends who are into RPGs who begin to have trouble discerning between the game and reality. I've seen this story before, but this stellar writing and art team are bound to impress me. That's it for this week's haul. I'll be picking up a bunch of these titles this week, including 10,000 Black Feathers, The Silver Coin, Midnight Suns, Predator, Sgt Werewolf, Revealer, Sacrament, and probably Lovecraft Unknown Kadeth. How about you? Let me know which ones look good to you down in the comments.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to be. Live inside